The cafe was alive with the hum of laughter, the clinking of silverware against porcelain plates, and the murmur of conversations that made the little place feel warm to some, but suffocating to others. Among the blur of cheerful faces and hurried steps, she stood there, her apron wrinkled, her hair tucked back loosely, her eyes tired yet hiding a quiet pain. Her name was Anna, a 24-year-old waitress who had once dreamed of being an artist. But life had different plans, life often does. Tonight, she wasn't just carrying trays of steaming coffee and slices of pie. She was carrying shame. The kind that weighed heavier than any tray she could balance on her weary arms. She kept her gaze down, afraid of meeting the eyes of the very people who judged her for things they did not understand. And then, in the middle of that bustling cafe, as Anna's hands trembled while pouring a cup of coffee and a cruel chuckle echoed from a table nearby, a small innocent voice cut through the noise. "Mommy, look, she's shining." It was a little girl, no older than 6, her eyes wide with wonder as she looked directly at Anna. That was the moment everything began to change. Before I take you deeper into this story of pain, kindness, and transformation, make sure you like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Exposed Tales, because here we uncover the hidden truths and emotions behind stories you'll never forget. Anna froze, her hands tightening around the coffee pot. She wasn't sure if she had heard the child right. Shining. She felt anything but that. The mother gave an awkward smile, embarrassed by her daughter's outburst, and whispered, "Shh, sweetheart." But the little girl wouldn't look away. Her innocent gaze clung to Anna like a lifeline, as if she saw something the rest of the world had missed. The customers around Anna didn't see it. They only saw the coffee stain on her apron, the cracked shoes that had seen better days, the way her shoulders slumped like someone who had been carrying too much for too long. To them, she was invisible. Or worse, someone to pity, someone to laugh at, someone who didn't try hard enough. But to that little girl, she was shining. Anna's story wasn't written in one night. It had been a slow unraveling. She had grown up sketching every sunrise she could capture with a pencil on scrap paper, painting with borrowed brushes when neighbors let her. Her dream was to study fine arts, but after her father left and her mother fell sick, her world collapsed. Bills piled up. Her mother's medicine cost more than Anna could afford. And so, instead of sketching the sunrise, she worked until sunrise. She became a waitress in this small cafe, not because she lacked ambition, but because ambition didn't pay the rent. Every day she endured whispers from regulars, the condescending looks from people who ordered fancy lattes with names longer than their patience. Every day she told herself it didn't matter. But the truth was, it hurt, it carved into her. And on that particular evening when she spilled a few drops of hot coffee on the counter and a man muttered, "Some people just aren't cut out for more," her heart sank lower than ever. That's when the little girl's voice had cut through. For days after, Anna couldn't forget it, shining. The word replayed in her mind, soft yet unshakable. Why would a child say that? The little girl came again with her mother, a few weeks later. This time, she smiled directly at Anna and handed her a crayon drawing. It was a picture of Anna holding a tray with bright rays drawn around her body. Above it, in shaky handwriting, it said, "The kind lady who glows." Anna's throat tightened as she held back tears. The little girl had seen something no one else dared to see. Not the mistakes, not the stains, not the exhaustion. She had seen Anna's heart. The quiet patience when she served, the soft smile she gave even when mocked, the way her tired eyes still sparkled when she said, "Have a good day." It was the first time in years Anna felt seen for who she really was. But life, as always, was unforgiving. One stormy night, Anna came home to find her mother collapsed, the hospital bills doubled. Anna sold her few art supplies to cover the costs. She worked double shifts until her body ached so much she could hardly stand. She told herself it was worth it if her mother survived. Still, she felt the darkness clawing at her. Shame followed her like a shadow, shame for not achieving her dreams, shame for being just a waitress, shame for being judged by people who never knew the battles she fought. And then one night, the little girl returned again. But this time, something different happened. The cafe was unusually quiet, with only a few customers. The mother was scrolling through her phone while the little girl scribbled on paper. After a while, she called Anna over. "Look," she said, handing over her new drawing. This one was of Anna holding not just a tray but also a brush. The rays around her were even brighter, and behind her was a giant canvas. "My mommy says people laugh at waitresses," the girl said innocently, "but I think you're a superhero. Superheroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear aprons." Anna's chest caved in with emotion. She had never cried in front of a customer before, but in that moment, she couldn't help it. Tears rolled down her cheeks as the little girl patted her hand gently, as if comforting her. That night, Anna picked up the crayon drawing and held it close. For the first time in years, she pulled out her old sketchbook. She began to draw again. Her lines shaky, her hands tired, but her soul awakened. She drew late into the night, with tears dripping onto the paper, blending with the ink. Days turned into weeks. She sketched whenever she could, between shifts, on her breaks, even while waiting at the hospital. Slowly, she remembered who she was, beyond the apron, beyond the shame. One evening, the cafe owner walked by and noticed Anna sketching during her break. He was surprised. "You did this?" he asked, holding up one of her sketches. For the first time, instead of hiding, Anna lifted her chin and said, "Yes." Something shifted. The owner offered to hang a few of her sketches on the cafe walls. Customers noticed, some complimented. A local artist even offered to connect her to a small gallery. It wasn't overnight success, but it was a spark. By the time Anna's mother recovered enough to walk again, Anna had already sold her first few paintings. They weren't masterpieces that made her rich, but they were proof. Proof that she was more than what people whispered about her. Proof that even in shame, she could rise. And she never forgot the little girl, the one who had seen her shine when she couldn't see it herself. Years later, when Anna held her first small art exhibition, she invited that little girl and her mother as special guests. The girl's eyes lit up as she saw Anna's work displayed across the gallery walls. "See, Mommy," she whispered, tugging her mother's arm. "I told you she shines." And this time Anna didn't look down in shame. She stood tall, smiling through tears, glowing brighter than she ever had before. Before I leave you with the final message, if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Exposed Tales for more powerful, emotional stories like this. Your support helps us keep shining these lights into the world. The truth is, we often carry shame for things we shouldn't, because society teaches us to measure worth by titles, money, or appearances. But sometimes, all it takes is one innocent heart, one pure soul, to remind us of the truth. Our worth is not defined by what we do, but by who we are. The waitress who looked down in shame wasn't broken. She was shining all along. It just took a little girl's eyes to show her. And maybe, just maybe, the world needs more of us to see people, not for their struggles, but for their light.